Hello, and let's see another video about the Roman noble families of the Republican times. Today we are looking at Domitii Ahenobarbi family, and this is quite interesting one for many reasons. The headline for today is Beard of Brass, Mouth of Iron, and Heart of Lead, which is witticism said about one of the members of this family, and obviously it is a wordplay of the Ahenobarbus, which means the red-bearded, and we will come more into this later. The agenda, what we are covering today, is the overview of the Domitii Ahenobarbi, and then discuss about certain family members and family strategies that we can deduce on these lives and deeds of these individuals. Overview, it is obviously a plebeian gens, and it reached consular level at 192 before Christ. And maybe Domitii as overall come from Samnium. And what's interesting here in the Domitii Ahenobarbi especially is that it's quite small family really, and we only know about one branch of this family. So it's quite interesting one. And it also is a record holder of longest chain of consulships, consecutive consulships through generations from all Republican families. So it's a small family, but fairly influential one, as one can see here. Overview of the family, you can see it here. As I mentioned, this is really family that has only one family line, so we are not aware of there having been any others. I think the chances are that there has been, as for example we can see here, of the brother of consul of 192, how the family line kind of starts there, but it goes only a couple of generations before it disappears from our records. I think there might be several reasons for this phenomenon. For example, it might be that Domitii Ahenobarbi simply wanted to favor one of the family lines and concentrate all the consulships into this one family line. Maybe they were forced to do so, maybe it was a coincidence, maybe it was a calculation that if they focus on developing the careers, public careers of one family line, that will give them more prestige than some odd consul here or there through different family lines. Well, you can take your pick, or it is simply because this was the only family line that happened to rise into reasonable wealth and influence to really support multiple generations after each other. But I don't know what most probable explanation could be here, but I think this kind of continuum of consulships throughout generations that they show, it's not coincidental. I think it has been planned some way or another. There is some reasoning behind this into some direction or another. And as you can see, there are quite a lot of what we don't know about this family. For example, the wives of the men of this family, they are mostly unknown. We only know of a couple of them. And there is even a case where we know that there has been 3 wives, but we don't know the name of any one of them, which is kind of exceptional in its way. So for a plebeian family, this is not normal. If this would be a patrician family, I wouldn't be surprised at all that we don't know anything about their wives, but for a plebeian family, that's not so common. Usually, plebeian families are better documented in this regard. Maybe this is also a sign of family culture. Maybe it tells something about the selections of these people. I will go through next the notable family members, consulship holders especially here, and I will discuss more about their lives, and then in the end we will take a look about the overall view for the family strategies and family culture, what we can see forming. Consul of 192 Ahenobarbus was the first one to reach consulship of his family. And during his consulship, he was fighting wars against Gauls in Gallia, and he was aligned with Cornelius Scipiones. I think this is very clear, especially with Scipio Africanus and Protor Africanus, Lucius Cornelius Scipio Asiaticus. For example, he served in the command of Asiaticus in the east. And I think this alignment with Scipiones, especially this influential and very successful pair of Scipiones, this alignment secured the position of the family Ahenobarbi for the next generations, because those were big wars and important connections that they had. The consul of 162 Ahenobarbus, this was the son of consul 192, he was selected as pontifex priest at particularly young age. And I think here we can see the handwriting of Scipiones quite clearly. And he worked with Lucius Aemilius Paulus Macedonicus when Macedonicus was fighting in Macedonia. So, and we must remember that this sister of this Paulus was married with Scipio Africanus, and the son of Paulus was adopted into Fabii Maximi gens, and son of this adopted Fabius Maximus became the consul of 121, Quintus Fabius Maximus Allobrogicus. So we can already see here that the consul of 162 Ahenobarbus was very well connected with some of the most important patrician families of the time, and with Scipiones, Emili Pauli, and Fabio Maximi. And what's interesting here is that probably his selection into priesthood and the selection into staff, commanding staff of Paulus Macedonicus, were due to the contacts with Scipio Africanus that his father held. So this is kind of quite typical Roman situation where lesser families align with stronger families and serve with them in different capacities and get rewards that are quite high for their family stature, because we have to remember that before this pair there weren't any consuls in the Domitii Ahenobarbi family. So I think this kind of draws the basic lines of the family strategy, how they chose to survive during those years, and what kind of decisions they were ready to make. Then when we look at the consul of 122 and consul of 96, this is kind of the high point of the Domitii Ahenobarbi family, because these are the only censores in the family. Both were elected as censor after the consulship. And let's look at the consul of 122 first. And the consul of 122 is especially remembered about his involvement in Gallia. And we can see that he continues here the family tradition of fighting in Gallia. The first Gallic province of Rome was won by him and Quintus Fabius Maximus Allobrogicus. So we can see here also the generation-long cooperation between Fabii Maximi and Domitii Ahenobarbi, that it continued in this generation. And Ahenobarbus, of consul of 122, started the war against Averni and Allobrogi tribes. And it was for Fabius Maximus to finish that war. And when the war finished and the Gallic province was created, they had the triumph together, which is quite a significant honor, I think, to celebrate if you are a plebeian member of nobility and you get to celebrate it with patrician member of the nobility. And Fabius Maximus himself was later on attacked by Caius Gracchus on the charge of plundering his province. And I think this also gives us a hint where the family wealth of Domitii Ahenobarbi also was developed further. I think that it's quite obvious that he also was involved in enriching himself there. Ahenobarbus was very much tied into this Gallic province also after the war, and for example, he was part of establishing the very important city of Narbonne, that is modern Narbonne in France, and he built the first Roman road in this province, Via Domitia, and this Via Domitia had quite a big strategic importance for Rome, because it connected through land the Roman holdings in Italy and into the Roman holdings in Spain. So it was this kind of missing piece there between Italic Peninsula and Hispanic Peninsula that was achieved with Via Domitia. And I think this also signals the significance of the province in that region, the Gallic province, for Rome in general, because it connected the Roman holdings through land. It was not only then connected by the sea. Sea route, of course, was important as well, but the land route had obvious advantages there. And also, when we consider that his forefathers fought in Gallia as well, and then he was involved in wars there, and then also these arrangements, then I think this draws a quite clear picture of how they built their family position and influence also in the Gallic province area, and probably had quite a lot of clients there from whom they had influence. The censorship of Consul of 122 Ahenobarbus was with Lucius Caecilius Metellus Diadematus, and this censorship is remembered from purging about 30 senators from the Senate, and he was also active as pontifex priest in his later years. So I think this draws a quite clear image of traditional Roman nobleman having involved in civil administration as consul and censor, but also having a military command and arranging matters in province, starting big building projects, and being active also in the sphere of religion and so on. So this kind of very much archetypical kind of Roman noble person of the era. The son of consul of 122 Ahenobarbus was a plebeian tribune when his father died, and this is, I think, quite interesting matter, because as mentioned, his father was in his later years very active as a pontifex priest, and it was accustomed that when you died and if you held important priesthood, then it would be your son or someone from your family that would be selected as a next priest. But in this case, that didn't happen. So there was a kind of the younger Ahenobarbus, consul of 96, felt that this was kind of injustice towards him, that he didn't get this certain priesthood for himself. And what he did, because he was a tribunus plebis at the moment, he enacted a new law that meant that the most important priesthoods would be thereafter elected by popular vote, not selected by the collegium itself. And this was, of course, quite a big step towards more popular style of politics from the strictly aristocratic politics, and it was therefore opposed quite forcefully. For example, there was Marcus Aemilius Scaurus who was opposing this, and eventually lost, but the opposition was real. And there was a court case of Scaurus against Ahenobarbus, and Scaurus wanted to have these laws repealed. And during this court case, Ahenobarbus was offered information about Scaurus, scandalous information that could be used in the trial to bring down the name of Scaurus and so on. But Ahenobarbus refused to use this evidence that would have been gathered by shady means through a slave. And he won himself a reputation as a very honest man, and also won the court case, which is quite interesting example of how Roman logic and justice work. And what happened afterwards was that his laws were enacted, and he himself was elected as Pontifex Maximus, not simple normal pontifex, but the high priest, the leader of Pontificum Collegium. And I think the people who supported this proposal probably supported the idea that the power of the people would be extended and added by the expense of the nobility. But doing so, they also elected this very same man that was supposed to be selected as a pontifex. They elected him there. So they kind of wanted to reform, but then when they had the power, they did exactly the same as would have happened without the reform, or should have happened without the reform. So I think this is quite a funny example of how things could went in the Roman system. Consul of 96 was also remembered as a censor, and his censorship was remembered mainly because his colleague as a censor was Licinius Crassus, consul of 95, and this was kind of night and day type of pair of censors. Licinius Crassus was rich and smooth, both were plebeian, by the way. Crassus was smooth and rich, and he was a good talker, and he was very known as one of the Rome's leading public speakers and courtroom speakers. Whereas Ahenobarbus himself was known for his very short sentences and not very flashy rhetorics. And this headline of this video, the beard of brass, mouth of iron, and heart of lead, this is actually said by Crassus about his colleague in censorship during their tenure. And it was a kind of situation where Crassus retorted to something what Ahenobarbus has said, that okay, that would be expected from a man who has a beard of brass and mouth of iron and heart of lead, underlining the harshness and difficult nature of Ahenobarbus. And how true this definition was, we don't know for sure, but it has made a joke that has been circulated for a couple of thousand of years, so maybe it was true. And another example during their censorship, there are numerous ones of these, was that this kind of story of them in a public debate. And as a background information was that the Crassus was enjoying the riches of his family, and while Ahenobarbus was very known for his frugal lifestyle of stoic kind, eating simple food and living in a relatively simple home, and so on. And then when they had an argument in the public once, then Ahenobarbus was criticizing Crassus for too lavish lifestyle, and namely the magnificent house that Crassus lived in at. And Ahenobarbus said that he found it kind of degrading to the honor of the office of the censor that the public official who is responsible for the morals of the people, for the public morals, would live in such a lavish house as Crassus did live. And Ahenobarbus continued saying that the house of Crassus is so lavish that he would pay 10 million sesterces for Crassus for it. And it's quite probable that that Ahenobarbus was correct in the estimate here of the value of the house. It was an expensive one, and it was widely known that it was one of the grandest ones in the city. And this kind of insult toward your colleague, criticizing his wealth when they should be speaking against about the excessive wealth and money gathering of the Roman nobility of the era. There is some point in it, yes, it has to be admitted. But Crassus wasn't to be silenced so easily in the public debate. And he answered to Ahenobarbus that, okay, we are close to deal here, and you can buy my house. But if I could only keep 6 trees that are growing in the garden of my house for myself, then I would sell the rest of the house of you, Ahenobarbus, for 10 million sesterces. And Ahenobarbus was irritated by this and was quick to answer that, okay, in this case I will not pay a single sesterce for this house. And this was the trap that the Crassus set for him. And Crassus said that Ahenobarbus and looked at the public and asked that really, which of us really deserves public criticism of setting bad example to the people? I live comfortably in my own house that I have inherited from my family, and as many people do, they live in the house of the family and keep it up as it should be kept up. And am I the bad example here? Or is the bad example my colleague, who is so fool that he values 6 trees to be worth of 10 million sesterces? Because Ahenobarbus was refusing to buy the house if the Crassus would keep the 6 trees growing in the garden. And thus having the Ahenobarbus outwitted here and ridiculed in public. And as a note of historical interest, we should also mention here that the garden of this house and these trees were said to have lasted still about 200 years later, until they were burned down in the Great Fire of Rome that happened during the reign of Emperor Nero. And Emperor Nero himself was related to this Ahenobarbus, whom we are talking about here. So whether all of this is true or not, you can decide for yourself. But I think it's a wonderful story exemplifying the differences in family culture. And for example, how the Crassus lived in the lavish house of his family, and Ahenobarbus wanted to live in much more frugal lifestyle. And you cannot have a frugal lifestyle unless your family also has it, if you are paterfamilias. So this is kind of underlines the family differences and also the importance of the family, because the contemporaries wouldn't have gotten this joke unless they would know about the conditions in the family and the characters of these people. So I think this is a great example of family culture and how it also affected their public standing and actions in the public sphere. But okay, when we look at the family of the Consul of 96, his sister was married with Quintus Lutatius Catulus, who was the son of Elder Catulus, and Servilia. Servilia was his mother, and this Servilia was daughter of Caepio the Elder, whom we have been talking about already in the previous video. And Catulus himself, younger Catulus, defended Sulla and opposed Marius. So this was kind of clear alignment towards the Sullan side, the nobility side of the politics as well. And the sons of this Ahenobarbus married with Porkia and Cornelia Kinna. And the elder son of Consul of 96 married Cornelia Kinna. And Cornelia Kinna was the younger sister of the Cornelia Kinna who married Gaius Julius Caesar. So this was kind of alignment with the popular side, not the aristocratic side of the politics. And interestingly enough, this elder son chose the side of Marius in the battle between Marius and Sulla, and he died in Africa in the battle against Pompeius Magnus, who was the sub-commander of Sulla in the civil war. So the father of family, Consul of year 96, was himself aligned with old-fashioned nobility. His eldest son was aligned with Marius, and the younger son who married Porkia, that was daughter of Livia Drusa, whose first husband had been Caepio the Younger, as we can remember from the previous video. This younger son opposed Caesar alongside with Cato, and actually he was the only commander to oppose Caesar when Caesar marched to Rome. And when battle was lost in Italy, Caesar pardoned him, but this Ahenobarbus joined back with Pompeians and eventually died at the Battle of Pharsalos. And I think this is quite interesting that if you put yourself in the position of this younger son of Ahenobarbus, your older brother had been killed by Pompeius Magnus in a battle, and later on in your life you are forced to side with Pompeius Magnus in the war against Caesar. And this is kind of, I don't know how easy it was for him to do this kind of decision, but I think it could have been quite difficult decision to make eventually, and to choose from the two evils that with whom you want to align with. And it's also about the nature of the Roman politics that you couldn't always choose the right side, so to speak, or act only out of the individual interest. You had to think about your family and your family alignments as well. And this is very interesting pair of sons, I think. And the brother of Consul of 96 was Consul at 94. So this is really the high point of the family affairs in public life. And this Consul of 94, Ahenobarbus, fought alongside his brother against the reforms of Tribune Saturninus and chose the Sullan side in the civil war. And he was killed by the command of Gaius Marius the Younger. So he paid for his life for this alignment. And all in all, if you look at these consuls of 122 and 96 and their family and their family fortunes, with all of these turbulent times of Sulla and Marius and Pompeius and Caesar, I think we can already start to see here kind of dilemmas and selections and decisions that this family had to make during these decades, and also the difficult nature of these decisions. It's also, I think, by this time already we can see some element of family culture here, because none of these Ahenobarbi who reached the consulship and even the censorship and had important military commands and were influential in other ways as well. None of them really wanted to go for this kind of the highest of the highs in the terms of influence and individual position in the republic. So we don't see here actions like Caesar or Pompeius did, or Scipiones. And I think this is also by a choice, not by a coincidence. I think they chose to be kind of not in the exact limelight of and center point of everything, but they rather were there in the sidelines and building their own family fortunes and own family position steadily but carefully all the time, and not adventure too far out in the individual side of things, and they didn't want to bring out this kind of superior individual that like Caesar or Pompeius would tower above everyone else of their time. So I think it's kind of sets the tone for the whole family, and even before that, during when they were closely aligned with Scipiones, I think we can see there this kind of mentality that, you know, let's not get too visible here. Let's keep it low and let's keep it, you know, let's keep our focus into family fortunes and into family continuum, family position, and let's not stray too far away from the traditions. So this kind of carefulness or traditionalism, I think, is all the time there with this family. And then when we look at the later members of this family, for example, Consul of 32, Ahenobarbus, he was known as one of the murderers of Caesar, so he continued this family tradition against Caesar. During his consulship, he was fighting alongside Marcus Antonius against Octavianus. So I think he has chosen his side and stuck with it against Caesar and Octavianus. And he was in fact one of the most respected commanders of Antonius, even to a degree that when the soldiers asked him to take over the command and this from Antonius, and this happened when Antonius refused to leave Cleopatra behind of the army, because the soldiers felt that Cleopatra was taking too much attention of Antonius away from waging the war actually against Octavianus, and also because it was the belief that it was bad luck for the army to have a woman traveling with them. So this is kind of shown of the military leadership skills that also this Consul of 32 Ahenobarbus had. And if you remember, he was also an important member in the Ahenobarbus, his forefather was an important member in the commanding staff of Scipio Asiaticus, and is widely believed to be the real commander of the army of Scipio Asiaticus, who wasn't that skilled a military commander himself. So as far as family tradition goes, I think Domitii Ahenobarbi were kind of a military family in that respect, that they had several good, skilled military commanders who achieved important victories and important positions in their life. This Consul of 32, Ahenobarbus, eventually abandoned Antonius and switched sides to the Octavianus. And what's kind of interesting is that he died very soon after switching the sides, and he's said to have died with fever disease, which is of course quite normal in those circumstances, but one wonders that was it really a fever, or was it some kind of poisoning? We don't know. The Consul of 16 was married with Antonia, who was the daughter of Marcus Antonius, so he was tightly aligned with Antony family these couple of generations. And then, as a quick last note, the consul of the year 32 of Common Era was married with Julia Agrippina, who was the sister of Emperor Caligula. And from this, you will get the idea of how long-lasting really this dynasty and family line of Domitii Ahenobarbi was, because they started very deep in the Republican era and continued well into the imperial era, and were related to the emperors themselves. So it's as a family survival story, I think this is very good example of how to survive in very turbulent times of politics, and if you consider what happened during all those centuries, that this family line existed and stayed on the top of the society as consular level family, then you start to really appreciate the success and effort that the Ahenobarbi made in their family planning. Because I think this kind of family story is not possible by coincidence anymore. It was by design. They were carefully considering their positions and how to keep their family alive through all these disturbances in the society, and even from change of from republic into empire, and from republican system of administration into imperial system. And this is very remarkable achievement. Of course, there were other families as well, and as there were bound to be, but it's certainly one of the very few that kept their influence intact throughout these centuries of upheaval and change. And this also makes us wonder about the real reason behind having all the family consulships concentrated into one family line. And I think it really tells us the benefits of this system compared to families that had several family lines of consuls, and how their influence still could disappear in quite quickly and abruptly from the society. And if you look at their political alignment of this family throughout the centuries, it's usually carefully conservative, but it's not the extreme kind of action in neither direction really. And marriages also happen with families of popular ideologies, so they were flexible in their alignment, and they were kind of ready to switch on to different sides when there was a need to do it. And I considered the choice of, for example, those couple of brothers that other went for the conservative and other went for the reformist side, that this was done on purpose, that they really wanted to make it sure that at least one of these brothers' family will survive the times, and chose it kind of plan B. If things go wrong, then at least we have one family member who is siding with the reformist side. And I think the result speaks for themselves. They were successful in this family strategy. No matter how well thought or planned it was, I think it was planned, because everything else points out into this kind of careful planning when we think about this family. What's also interesting is that the role of the daughters of this family seems smaller than in many other plebeian families. Of course, we don't know. We don't know for sure. We don't know whom they married with and what kind of connections they brought with them. For example, it might be very well that there was a marriage connection between them and Servilike Piones earlier that really would make a lot of sense if you look at the family trees, but we don't have any evidence towards this conclusion. And of course, it very well might be that there would be some Cornelis Scipio representative here as well in the marriages, but again we don't know. I think this kind of family strategy that protects the family for centuries and centuries of time during the especially turbulent era of Roman history. And when we consider the Roman politics in general, even in the normal times, it was a turbulent atmosphere and surroundings, is very interesting choice, and it's not the most common one, I think, among the Roman families, but it produced extraordinarily good results. That was all about this family in general. There is a lot more. You can yourself make a research about these individual members of the family, and also to dig deeper into family connections, and maybe even see probable marriage arrangements with other families as well that I didn't mention, because I think they kind of are almost there, but we don't know for sure, and that's why I don't bring them up here. But this was very interesting family for me, I think, and it tells a lot about the family culture and importance of the families in the Roman history, and understanding the motivations of individuals in the Roman history. So I thank you, and I hope that we will see next time with some other family.